Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. The fire burning in New York City right now. The images coming in at this hour. Also breaking tonight, President-elect Donald Trump choosing Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, sending shockwaves. And the thieves hitting the homes of Kansas City stars Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Mahomes breaking his silence on this moments ago. First tonight, President Biden welcoming President-elect Donald Trump to the Oval Office, promising a peaceful transfer of power. The meeting lasting nearly 2 hours today, and tonight we learn what they talked about. Also late today, the president-elect revealing Trump loyalist Congressman Matt Gaetz is his pick for Attorney General. Reaction from Republicans on the Hill coming in right now. Also tonight, ABC News projecting today that Republicans will win the House. Trump will return to the White House with a Republican House and a Republican Senate. And tonight, the new leader of the Senate, the first new leader in nearly 20 years. Also, those images coming in right now, that new wildfire breaking out late today in New York City, smoke and flames in Manhattan. Residents being urged to keep their windows closed. Tonight, targeting the homes of two Kansas City Chiefs stars, authorities investigating back-to-back burglaries at the homes of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. You'll hear from Mahomes here in a moment. Tonight, Lyle and Eric Menendez, a new DA elected in Los Angeles, and what he's now signaling about their future, suggesting not so fast. Our interview with the new DA tonight. The factory explosion in Louisville, and now we have learned it was deadly. The dramatic Coast Guard rescue, the fisherman forced to abandon ship in 47-degree water. The Full House star revealing his battle with cancer tonight. And America Strong this evening, we all cherish those moments when we wave goodbye to our parents, but we have never seen anything quite like this. A lifetime of goodbyes.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night. We begin tonight with President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House, spending nearly 2 hours in the Oval Office with President Biden. Late today, the president-elect revealing his pick for Attorney General, Trump loyalist Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Earlier today, President-elect Trump and President Biden shaking hands in the Oval Office, Biden inviting Trump to the White House, an invitation not extended to Biden 4 years ago. Trump in the Oval Office today saying politics is tough and saying, in many cases, it's not a very nice world, but it's a nice world today. And this White House photo tonight of the two presidents with First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, who wrote a handwritten note to Melania Trump, who did not make the trip. Late today, the pick for Attorney General revealed. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. It sent shockwaves on the Hill tonight. Republicans in the House and the Senate reacting right here. Also, former Democrat, now Republican Tulsi Gabbard is Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence, and his pick for Defense Secretary, a Fox News host, the weekend anchor from Fox and Friends, Army veteran Pete Hegseth, who has made controversial comments of his own. We have it all covered tonight, beginning with ABC's Mary Bruce, leading us off from the White House.
Tonight, the extraordinary image. President Biden and President-elect Trump today side by side in the Oval Office. Biden inviting the president-elect to the White House. The once bitter rivals on the need for a peaceful transfer of power.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President, thank you. Donald, congratulations.
Thank you.
And looking forward to having a, like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
good.
Welcome
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And a transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
You're welcome.
The president extending a courtesy to Trump that was not extended to Biden 4 years ago. The White House describing their time together as gracious. Trump reportedly telling the New York Post it was a really good meeting and that they both really enjoyed seeing each other. For roughly 2 hours, the two presidents discussed a wide range of issues, from foreign policy to domestic challenges. The White House calling it a substantive back and forth, saying Trump came armed with a set of detailed questions. In the room with them, their chiefs of staff. The president-elect reportedly saying the two discussed Ukraine and the Middle East. Trump telling the New York Post, I asked for his views, and he gave them to me. Saying also we talked very much about the Middle East likewise. I wanted to know his views on where we are and what he thinks, and he gave them to me. He was very gracious. Within hours of the meeting, the president-elect making news by selecting a fierce loyalist, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, as his attorney general. Gaetz, who traveled with Trump to Washington today, now tapped to lead the Justice Department, the same department that was investigating the congressman for years for alleged obstruction of justice and for alleged sex trafficking. An investigation that began under Trump's then Attorney General Bill Barr, the DOJ ultimately closing the investigation and bringing no charges against Gaetz. The congressman is currently at the center of an ongoing bipartisan House Ethics Committee investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Allegations Gaetz has denied, calling the investigation frivolous. Late tonight, Speaker Mike Johnson announcing Gaetz is resigning from the House effective immediately, meaning that ethics investigation is dropped. Trump has railed against what he describes as a corrupt Justice Department out to get him. Tonight, the president-elect saying Gaetz will end weaponized government, protect our borders, dismantle criminal organizations, and restore Americans' badly shattered faith and confidence in the Justice Department. The reaction on Capitol Hill, swift. Republican lawmakers telling ABC News,
his team is smart enough to know that Mr. Gaetz will never get confirmed by the Senate.
A reporter asking Senator Lindsey Graham what he thought about Trump's pick.
Action to Matt Gaetz as AG.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I think about that one.
Do you have any concerns about it?
We'll see.
The president-elect also officially announcing what ABC News had previously reported, that his one-time rival, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, is his pick for Secretary of State, the nation's top diplomat. Rubio, who sits on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, is hawkish on China, but his views on Ukraine have shifted over the years, recently voting against increased aid, a position more in line with Trump's. And for Defense Secretary, Trump selecting a host from Fox News, a weekend anchor for Fox and Friends, Army veteran Pete Hegseth. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan, but has no military leadership experience and has made controversial statements, saying the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff should be fired for supporting diversity and inclusion efforts at the Pentagon. And he said this about women serving in combat.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles.
And for Director of National Intelligence, the president-elect naming former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who switched parties, once a Democrat, now a Republican loyal to Trump.
Elon has been
With Trump throughout the day today, billionaire Elon Musk, an increasingly influential confidant. Trump carving out a new role for him, asking him to lead what Trump is calling the Department of Government Efficiency, likely operated outside the federal government. Musk has been paired with Vivek Ramaswamy to make cuts. As he prepares to take office, Trump already looking ahead, joking to Republican lawmakers today, "I suspect I won't be running again unless you say he's so good, we've got to figure something else out." House Republicans were meeting behind closed door today when Donald Trump announced Matt Gaetz as his pick for Attorney General. We've learned there were audible gasps in the room, and sources inside the Justice Department tonight are conveying a sense of shock. One official saying this can't be real, another suggesting there will be mass resignations if Gaetz is sworn in. But David, tonight there are real questions about whether Gaetz could garner the majority of support needed in the Senate to be confirmed, or it is possible the Senate could waive its vetting responsibilities and allow for recess appointments, as Trump has been demanding. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off here tonight. Mary, thank you. Mary, as you know, ABC News projecting today that Republicans will win the House. Donald Trump returns to the White House with a Republican House and a Republican Senate. President-elect Trump was cheered at a meeting with House Republicans today, shaking hands with Speaker Mike Johnson. And news from the Senate tonight, Republican members electing South Dakota Senator John Thune as their next majority leader, their first new leader in nearly 2 decades. Rachel Scott on the Hill again tonight.
Tonight, it is official. President-elect Donald Trump will return to the White House with both a Republican Senate and a Republican House.
Please stand to your feet. The 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Trump was greeted by Republican lawmakers with cheers and a standing ovation.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering. Isn't it nice to win? It's nice to win. It's always nice to win.
And tonight, for the first time in nearly 2 decades, Republicans will have a new leader in the Senate, John Thune, the senior senator from South Dakota.
It's a new day in the United States Senate, and it's a new day in America.
After 2 rounds of secret ballots, Thune defeating Senator Rick Scott of Florida, a Trump loyalist, and Senator John Cornyn of Texas. The 63-year-old succeeds Mitch McConnell, the longest-serving leader in the Senate, 18 years leading his party. Senator Thune, first elected in 2004, has been critical of Trump in the past, once accusing Trump of undermining the integrity of our elections, calling it, quote, inexcusable. Now Thune is vowing to work closely with Trump to deliver on his agenda. even signaling he would consider one of Trump's key demands, allowing Trump to appoint cabinet members without a confirmation process when the Senate is on recess, what's called a recess appointment.
You've said that recess appointments are on the table. That's a key demand from President-elect Donald Trump. Will you move forward with that?
Well, what we're going to do is make sure that we are processing his nominees in a way that gets them into those positions so they can implement his agenda. How that happens remains to be seen. We expect a level of cooperation from the Democrats to work with us to get these folks installed. And obviously, we're going to look at explore all options to make sure that they get moved and that they get moved quickly.
And ABC News has projected that Republicans will keep their majority in the House. I'm told behind closed doors today, President-elect Donald Trump even acknowledged just how narrow that majority in the House could be, even joking that he really can't afford to pluck any more members of the House to serve in his cabinet. David, he's already nominating 3 of them.
Yes, a slim majority, but a majority nonetheless. Rachel, thank you, in both the House and the Senate. We're also following breaking news here in New York City at this hour. A new wildfire breaking out late today in Manhattan. Multiple units responding to the fire in Inwood Park. That's in Upper Manhattan. Residents warned to keep their windows closed. Look at this tonight. A New York City firefighter. This is in Manhattan, walking a path there. Flames all around. ABC's Erielle Reshef on the scene in Upper Manhattan tonight.
Tonight, a massive cloud of smoke towering over New York City, a brush fire breaking out late this afternoon in Upper Manhattan.
And as we bring this picture out, you'll get an idea of what they are contending with, because this is a huge area of brush.
A massive response on the ground, the blaze fueled by bone-dry conditions and gusty winds. The New York City Fire Department warning residents to shut their windows, as they've responded to 230 brush fires in the last 2 weeks, the most ever. Meanwhile, multiple fires breaking out on New York's Long Island Tuesday. Police say one of them was deliberately set. Authorities say volunteer fireman Jonathan Quiles was seen starting a fire using flaming cotton balls.
This brush fire was close to a residential area and threatened the lives and property of countless people.
West of New York City, the Jennings Creek fire continues to threaten about 100 structures along the New York-New Jersey border, still only 30% contained. And David, here in Manhattan, the smell of smoke is thick. It is definitely affecting the air quality. And you can see behind me, dozens of fire crews are staged here. They tell us they are making progress, but they're throwing everything they can at this fire. We've seen brush fire units. We have seen drones taking off and landing and fire boats trying to tackle this from the water. They are racing to put this out. David?
Really an extraordinary scene unfolding in New York City tonight. Ariel, thank you. Also tonight, the back-to-back burglaries targeting the homes of 2 Kansas City Chiefs stars, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The burglaries within hours of one another. And late today, Mahomes breaking his silence on it all. Here's Aaron Katersky.
These are the sprawling estates of 2 of the NFL's biggest stars, and tonight police are trying to catch the crooks that burglarized them as the Kansas City Chiefs took the field for Monday Night Football.
Over the middle, wide open, Kelce again.
On successive nights last month, police say burglars broke into the homes of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes in Missouri and Travis Kelce in Kansas. The 2 seen today at practice, where Mahomes spoke about the break-in.
It's frustrating. It's disappointing. But I mean, I can't get into too many of the details because the investigation is still ongoing. But obviously something that you don't want to happen to really anybody, but obviously yourself.
On Sunday, October 6th, police were dispatched to a burglary where Mahomes lives. He described what that home means to him in the Netflix documentary Quarterback.
I'm here to be in Kansas City for the long term, and so I'm excited that I can say I'm a part of Chiefs Kingdom forever now, and that house kind of embodies that.
Hours after Mahomes was targeted, and with the Chiefs about to kick off Monday night, police say burglars stole $20,000 in cash from Kelce's home and damaged the back door. Taylor Swift was at that game, but afterwards she and Kelce reportedly did not return to his house.
I spoke to police a little while ago. David, seems they know who they're looking for, and they're confident they will catch them. David?
Aaron Katersky with us tonight. Aaron, thank you. Tonight there's news in the case of Lyle and Eric Menendez. Amid so much talk about possible freedom, tonight the new DA just elected in Los Angeles and what he's now signaling about their future. ABC's Kanan Whitworth with the interview tonight.
Just weeks ago, in that bombshell move, the Los Angeles DA called for a judge to free the Menendez brothers after 35 years in prison for the murders of their parents.
I believe that they have paid their debt to society.
But tonight, after a landslide defeat, the newly elected district attorney, Nathan Hochman, telling us, not so fast.
We're really going to do this?
Despite a media frenzy surrounding a popular Netflix documentary and scripted series, Hochman says he now wants to review all the evidence.
If you decide this case based on just reviewing a Netflix documentary, you're doing a disservice to the Menendez brothers, to the victim family members, to the public.
Hochman questioning the motive and the timing of DA George Gascon's decision so close to the election.
There's a cloud over that credibility. Is it a just decision, or was it just a political ploy? There will be no cloud over whatever decision I do, because I will spend the time to thoroughly review the facts in the law.
And David, there are two other possible paths to freedom here for the Menendez brothers. Right now, a judge is reviewing new alleged evidence in this case. There's a hearing set for that later this month. But also, David, at any time, the governor could grant clemency, David.
All right, Kana Whitworth with the interview, and Kana will have much more from her interview with the newly elected DA and the future of the Menendez case. That's tomorrow morning on Good Morning America. Kana, thanks. Tonight, the arrest of a CIA employee in Cambodia accused of major intelligence breach, charged with espionage tonight. ABC News has learned Asif Rahman was arrested in Cambodia, charged in connection with that recent leak of classified information involving Israeli military plans to retaliate against Iran. The information from U.S. satellite surveillance was posted online days before Israel's attack. If convicted, Rahman faces up to 20 years in prison now. When we come back tonight, the powerful factory explosion, it's been deadly. Also, the Full House star revealing his battle with cancer tonight. And waving goodbye to our parents. We've never seen anything quite like this, and it'll move you in a moment here. Tonight, we're tracking a tropical threat that could affect the U.S., though it's still too early. Gaining strength in the Caribbean, expected to become a tropical storm by tomorrow night. Hurricane and tropical storm watches posted in parts of Central America. Landfall near Belize on Monday. Still too soon to know if it will impact the U.S. coastline. Some long-range models show it turning back toward Florida. Again, far too early to tell. We'll keep tracking it. Tonight, we've learned the factory explosion in Louisville was deadly. 2 workers killed. 1 victim died at the hospital. The other victim found buried under huge pieces of metal. The cause of that blast still under investigation tonight. When we come back here, the Full House star revealing his battle with cancer and a lifetime of goodbyes with our parents. This is something tonight. To the index of other news tonight, the Coast Guard rescuing 3 fishermen off Kayak Island, Alaska. An electrical fire forcing them to abandon ship. Their vessel adrift, a helicopter pulling them from 15-foot seas and 47-degree waters. Tonight, former Full House star Dave Coulier revealing his battle with cancer. He's been diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He's undergoing chemotherapy, and doctors telling him his condition is very treatable, and we wish him well. When we come back here tonight, what if you could look back at all of your goodbyes with your parents? In a moment.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Chewy.
Finally tonight, hear that simple question. What if you could look back at all of your goodbyes with your parents? Tonight, 2 parents waving goodbye to their daughter over the course of 27 years, nearly 3 decades of goodbyes captured. Pat and Jerry Dykeman in their driveway in Sioux City, Iowa. Their daughter Deanna began taking photos of them waving goodbye to her back in 1991. You can see Deanna right there in the side view mirror. She lived 400 miles away and would take the photos, she said, to help with the sadness of those goodbyes. In the summer, in the snow, eventually waving goodbye to their first and only grandchild, Deanna's son, Theron. There he is at just 2 months old, then as a boy, a teenager, a college student. This is the last photo Deanna would take of her father. He would die just a few weeks later. She would continue taking the photos, her mother, now waving goodbye alone. 8 years later, Deanna would lose her mother, too. This is the last photo she would take in that driveway, and for the first time in her life, no one waving back. Tonight, her collection of photos from Sioux City, Iowa, titled Leaving and Waving, now touring art galleries around the world. Deanna hopes others will see the love in the eyes of her parents waving back, just as she did, and she hopes her loss will help others process theirs. Tonight, Deanna, that daughter and photographer, telling us, I hope that everyone thinks about appreciating the ordinary moments of life with their dearest ones. Tell them you love them. Go visit your parents or give them a call. Don't wait until you think you have time. You never know what might be different tomorrow. Tonight, one daughter sharing a lifetime of goodbyes. And what a gift, those goodbyes, moving the world. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.